Oh, welcome. This is Sagittarius full moon meditation. Sarah, I saw your question about whether this is a Scorpio or full moon or a Sagittarius full moon. Yeah, it's what messed me up earlier this year. Also, that I thought that these would easily follow each other, but it's not really like that. The system that we follow is a tropical system. There are other systems as well that can be used for esoteric cycles or the transitions between zodiac signs. But the tropical system is the dominant one at the moment. It's not the most accurate one. So sidereal system is the system that gives the information or the readings or the cycles accurately as they are. And it's really interesting because, for example, in tropical system, I am a double Aquarius, but in sidereal system, I would be double Capricorn. So it's a totally different system. So that can also be a portal to, if you have any interest or time or any calling to go into that deeper, that that may reveal some things to you about your life, if that is something that you want to look into. But yeah, so according to tropical system, this is where we have transitioned into Sagittarius season already a few days ago. And this full moon is in Sagittarius, and the new moon will be in a couple of weeks before we, just before the Christmas, I believe, we transition into Capricorn. And I'm deeply grateful for you for joining me today. I feel this is a really sacred space today. It's deeply touching me to be here with you as you entered the space. I felt this softening and this softening and widening and opening at the same time. And I think today, what is alive, what is coming through me is more of an inquiry into the mystery of Sagittarius. I am going to say some words about Sagittarius. And I also noticed that while I mentally understand what it means, I noticed that the transmission has not been integrated into my being so deeply that I feel so confident about talking about it. So rather, I would just go into the inquiry what it actually means, so that we can all figure it out for ourselves. And I trust that is the guidance for today. But the pieces that that really touched me on the esoterics today, or on this zodiac sign, is that when I look at the big picture of the soul development and also the personality development when it starts in the astrological year with Aries, and the journey has taken us to here now, and we have just emerged from Scorpio season where we went into the underworld, and the underworld being the personality or the dweller on the threshold that wants to hinder the soul from shining and wants to be met by love and as love, so that it can serve together with the soul as a pillar for the spirit to flow through. And what has been so comforting in Scorpio is that it is a triumphant zodiac. So it's not about just wallowing in the underworld, but it's going there and coming back triumphant and conquering those parts of the personality that are not integrated yet. And so if you want to, you are welcome to share any of those triumphants, triumphs or triumphant moments if you wish to share, either in the chat or unmute yourself. That what have you discovered for yourself over the past month or so? And yeah, for me, I'm deeply grateful to Nina for guiding the retreat that I was able to participate in. For that helped me release my life story. That's one of the triumphs I went through, that I'm not identified with my life story anymore. And that has given me more space, that freedom of seeing that I'm much more than my life story. And I can now create a life story that supports the greater whole and step into whatever wants to be the one-pointed goal in Sagittarius that I need to focus my energy on from now on. So thank you, Nina. And thank you for the group that joined. Yeah, so for Sagittarius, I don't see any shares or any hands raised, but if you still want to, you're welcome to share if you want to. Meanwhile, I'm just going to keep talking for those who are listening and for those who are catching the replay. Yeah, so the keynotes of Sagittarius: fused duality. So this is where the dweller on the threshold and the soul are fused. Or if it is something, this is according to the teachings, that's the main focus. Obviously, it can be any other duality, any other polarity in your life that can be fused, so that they form a centaur, they form that focused action or focused direction. And from that fused duality grows, or fused duality changes or transmutes human ambition or personality ambition into spiritual aspiration. So instead of being based in the personality as an ambition that I want this or I want that, and me, and I'm the center of the world, this actually, when it's fused, they serve together and you see the bigger picture, and you actually want to aspire to a higher spiritual goal. So that's what I sense that I am going through at the moment. It's still a process ongoing. So I'm speaking as I'm living it. And this spiritual aspiration well, the third, let's go back. So the third keynote is intuition, and the fourth is direction. Well, actually, there's 5 keynotes, but for me, they sound like there's 4. So the first one was the attached or fused duality. The second is the human ambition leading eventually to spiritual aspiration. And the third, according to the teachings in Bailey's texts, a clear shaft of light which is the intuitive and focused attitude of the pledged disciple. A clear shaft of light. This is a clear stage in the process that brings in the intuition. So I am oversimplifying things when I'm just naming it intuition, but if we are very careful and very exact and discerning with the different things, there is actually this stage in the process where when the spiritual aspiration takes place, that is what opens the higher realms, and intuition becomes available. And the symbol of Sagittarius, the arrow, represents that intuition. It's in the teachings, it's called the returning arrow of the intuition. And that why intuition is so important is that intuition is a compass that leads us to the mountain of initiation in Capricorn. And so we've been journeying through a lot over the past months, and yet the actual initiation is only ahead of us. So that was the fourth keynote in the Bailey text, is the returning arrow of the intuition, and the fifth, idealism, which is the power to see vision and to direct one's course towards it. And so idealism and the vision, they are the energy of Mars and the sixth ray, and the devotion. But for me, when I'm talking about this from my own experience and from what I see and feel in this process, is that when we are guided by personality ambition, we're not so much supported by the spiritual world, in that what the universe always supports is soul. Survival may not be supported, but soul is always supported. And that is why when we find the soul in our being, in our doing, in our everyday life, we become so supported in everything that we are and do. And then things start to happen magically, very effortlessly, and in a flow. So, and things become very clear. There's no question about whether or not to do different things, or what shall I do next, or where should I go next, or what is where am I headed, or what's the purpose. And so the reason why I'm talking about this is that it also requires will. You can be easily handed over these keys to initiation, and look, here's your initiation, please take it. But if you don't use your will, then the purpose of that is not available. The will activates purpose, and that will is what we called in Scorpio already, to meet the dweller on the threshold, and we continue on that path to invoke that will. But in this time, in Sagittarius season, it's not about calling the will for battle, but it's calling in the will of God so that we can align ourselves with the will of God, with the higher will, so that we can use our free will, our smaller will, to align with the higher will. There are two quotes that I would love to read to you. One is from Bailey and one is from Bruce Lyon, what this is about. So the first one is from Bailey. Every time the man, in this case, in this time it's human, every time the human finds himself under the influence of Sagittarius, it is with the objective of orienting himself to some new and higher objective, with the task of refocusing himself towards a higher goal, and with the unfoldment of some basic and directing purpose. These developing purposes may range all the way from purely animal desire through selfish human ambition to the struggle of the aspiring disciple or initiate in order to achieve the needed liberation towards which the entire evolutionary process has impelled him. So this is the driving force that is behind what I perceive as wanting to be a better person, wanting to be a better human being. Simply. And the quote from Bruce Lyon, Working with the Will, from the book Working with the Will, is that a disciple is a human catalyst, one who has passed through the destructive use of the will into a greater degree of freedom and is now able to maintain his or her peace while operating as a causal agent in the world around them. So this refers to, in my opinion, in my perception, us humans being the vessels for the life force to flow through, the life force energy to flow through to the lower kingdoms of animals, plants, and minerals. And that we do not use it to destroy, but to liberate. And while we do that, that we hold our center and we do not waver. We can regulate our nervous systems. We can have a balanced glandular systems, and our physical vessel is, so our physical bodies are okay. And at the same time, we can run our daily lives, so our daily lives are not a mess. So we are grounded in this everyday life. And so that's what I find very beautiful in this sign, or in this zodiac archetype. Are there any questions? So we are going to go into our journey together, and as it is full moon, and as Master Dwakul has given us the core activation meditation for full moons to activate the dark core at the center of our being, I'm going to incorporate that meditation into the journey today, as I usually have done in the full moon meditations somehow. But let's see what other things come through for me. Let's see what kind of vision or what kind of goal wants to be, or direction wants to be emerged today or revealed today. I invite you to if you have not already found yourself a posture and position in the space that you're in that is comfortable for you, I'm also setting myself a better posture. There's something in my throat. I was dancing Latin dances all night last night, and I had so much fun. And now I'm just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't shouted so much. It was a live band. Band playing in the speaker. Okay. So I invite you to sense your breathing. No need to change your breathing, but sense your breathing. Sense how the air in your body is moving, not only through your lungs or your nose or your air pipes or anything like that, those physical anatomical parts of your being, but how is your breathing moving through your cells, through your atoms, sensing that effortless penetration of life force in your being, just simply by witnessing your breathing. And no need to force anything, just allowing those parts that you sense that are at ease with this effortless penetration for your cells and your atoms, that invite those parts, those atoms and those cells in your body that are not so open to this, to join, to attune to the vibrational frequency of the body's relaxation, of flow, expansion, centering, landing, descending. And if there are any impulses that invite your body to move somehow, now or throughout the journey together, then please allow that to happen. And listen to that wisdom and let that energy flow. And as you sense that vast space in your being, as you sense your breathing, and sense that ever growing expansion, see if you can also at the same time see where your center is, that center column of your spine. And if you can allow your body, allow your spine to breathe with the life itself, the rhythm of life, lubricating the vertebrae in your spine and allowing that spine to breathe, allowing that spine to soften, become more fluid. See if this fluidity can also reach your skull from the tailbone to the top of your skull. And if there are any tensions that want to be released, while you are just bringing your awareness and your breathing, this ever so gentle and delicate breathing through your cells and atoms into your spine and skull. See if there's something that wants to move so that the connection between your tail and your crown is actively vibrating and it's actively open. And from this spine activation, allow yourself to center in the heart center while you still keep feeling the full length of the spine, and it keeps elongating into the core of the earth and into the cosmos through your crown. And in this heart center, sense that opening, that same breathing on the cellular and atom level. And as you keep growing vertically, visualize your body with its sheaths as if it were the globe of the earth. And if it feels right to you, you can also let yourself sink into the earth, as you connect and stay in your heart center. Let that heart center be fused with the core of the earth, as you are the earth. This human body is an extension of that earth. With this breathing, invite in and draw in the energy of the sun through your north pole, through your crown, in this case, the sun being Sagittarius. The Sagittarius. And you don't need to know what that means, but call in the transmission of Sagittarius, the energy of the archetype of Sagittarius through your North Pole, and let it flow through and into your heart center, through the cellular attunement, cellular ripple effect, cellular wave. Then draw in and invite in the energy of the moon through the South Pole, through your base, through the same cellular breathing, penetrating your cells and atoms. And in this case, invite in the archetype of Gemini, Sagittarius, and the sign representing duality, where Sagittarius is representing fused duality. And again, you don't need to know what that means. Just invoking the transmission of Gemini. And into your heart. Mix them together. Sense the dark core that is revealed at the center of their union, and enter this core. This is a sensing meditation, so you don't need to imagine anything. Instead, attempt to feel from that core this tratma or life thread that has a direct connection to the monad, your essential life force. As you keep breathing effortlessly through your cells, sense the dark flow in your cells. Sense the dark flow of energy in your cells and in your atoms. See how much closer, and if all the way close, how much closer the center of the earth, or the core of the earth and the core of the galaxy can come to your heart. How much can they fuse and realize that your heart center is not simply in contact with these centers. It is an extension of their life coiled into the time and space density of their human incarnation. So see if you can let go of that separation between time and space. Just realize that your heart is the earth, and it is the galaxy. You are that life. Take time to identify with it. Allow the fusion between these three centers. Your heart, the core of the earth, and the core of the galaxy to grow and build. And as a result, allow the reservoir of life force to build in your heart. You can use the mantra of life and we'll leave a gap between each line so you can repeat it for yourself, either out loud or silently in your mind. There is no soul. There is no time. There is no space. There is only life. One love. This life I am. My will is for all my lesser selves. To know me at their core as the essence. The beginning and end of their existence. It is thus as the one life I live. Feel the love that pours through your heart. And feel the love that you are. Feel that love for all the Devic lives that make up your bodies of manifestation. The physical body, the emotional, the mental body, the etheric body. And as you feel that love, is there something that stands out to you? Something that does not feel itself as love, or that is not in resonance with the love that you are. Just notice. Just notice what comes into your experience. release this reservoir of life so that it radiates omnidirectionally from your center. This dark love, light, and power. If it supports you, you can even allow your body to move like a sponge. First into tight ball, and then letting that cellular breathing to continue while you extend this love in all the directions in your physical manifestation. And if there is no physical impulse to move, you can also sense sponge-like movements. Your being in your experience of this life force energy breathing you and effortlessly penetrating the core of all the beings that make up your earth. From the atoms of your physical to the atoms of your mental, emotional, and etheric body. As all of these are civic lives awaiting activation and direction from you, the god and goddess of their world. Sense the life and death nature of the energy that naturally destroys or ends those patterns of behavior that the lives in your etheric, emotional, and mental bodies have become accustomed to, but that are not aligned with your essential divinity. These take the form of complexes, patterns of thought, feelings, and habitual activity that have developed in your absence. Sense the purification that is taking place in the atoms of these lives as they change their vibratory rates as a result of core activation. Again, allowing that breathing and that sponge-like movement to purify the atoms themselves in your being. As you keep breathing as the one life, cellular level, penetrating all of your being. Sense how the different cells, the different parts of your being are organizing themselves and reorganizing themselves through a resonance that naturally occurs as the cells of the different bodies express their core notes and find their way into the organs and chakras, the different structures and dimensions of your subtle bodies as well as the physical. And see if you can sense, connect to the notes of your soul. What is the sound, the note, the vibration, the sound of your soul? If you can hum it or sing it, let your body express it, and you don't need to analyze it with your mind or censor it with your mind. Just let it come through. Let yourself test what the note is. Let your body find the attunement of that note. Tune to that note. Keep humming, keep sounding. The note of your soul. See what is the will of this note of your soul. And this will of the soul, the note of the soul is one note in the ocean of the one life, yet it is extremely important. Let yourself become aware of the will of your soul. And as it aligns itself with the divinity that is your essence, what is the vision that becomes available to you? Whether that vision be visual through visual sense or felt sense or audio or taste or smell. It doesn't matter which channel of sense, which sense door it comes through, but what is that you are guided to is the direction. And what is the clear shaft of light that becomes available to you in this moment? Holds your focus at this time? Hold that, just name that vision, name that direction for yourself out loud. Let it resonate in your body. And as you feel and resonate with this will of the soul that is aligned with your essential divinity, what comes up when you put on the clothing of your personality? You invite in the layer, personal layer. You invite in the essential divinity to penetrate your personality, your your vessel in this 3D world. What arises in your experience? Is it a full fuck yes from your personality? Is it a hell no? Or is it like, yeah, I don't know. Is it a freeze? Is it a rebellion? Is it some sort of resistance? Or is your personality attuning to the cellular breathing, omnidirectional sponge-like movement in your body? And is your personality aligning with that higher will? Or is it still finding itself separate from that? Either way is okay. There's no blame, there's no judgment. Just want to notice and observe where the personality is at. The personality is also one of the aspects of divinity. It is divine in itself. So we're not getting rid of it, but rather just finding a way to attune to the chorus of the notes that are available to us. Merely wanting to recalibrate the personality. So that it serves the higher, the greater well. And if it's not agreeing or attuning with or attuning to your soul's note and the essential divinity, the one life, the ocean of that life, what is the part that is separating itself from that wholeness, from that focus, from that direction? Name it for yourself. And what do you still need? What is the work? What is the need or missing piece for the personality so that it can feel safe to let go, to submit and surrender that will, personality will, to the will of the soul and to the will of the God? yourself name that and let your body also express that. Give your personality now the space to live this energy through so that it's not so stuck in the system, is allowed to flow, is allowed to be seen, is allowed to be embraced and loved. Another minute. Ask yourself why. The soul calls the arising sign. Do thy will, live. Do thy will, live. And the pledged disciple responds, I see the goal, I reach the goal, and I see another. I see the goal, I reach the goal, and I see another. Finally, consciously radiate the life force reservoir along the verticality of the sushumna, or your central column of the spine. If you're still connected to that cellular breathing, you are invited to continue that. And add the energy of the Sutratma to the anticron so that the connection through the base to the core of the earth and through the crown to the core of the galaxy is active and vibrating. Allow your breathing to deepen a few times so that it reminds you of your center in this physical form and brings you back to the time and space that you're in, even though you don't need to let go of anything, but just to bring in the layer of the time and space. And if it supports you, you can open your eyes and have a look around, reorient the physical you back into the space that you're in. Feel the weight of your body on the surface that you're sitting or standing or laying on. And when you feel grounded enough and safe enough to complete this journey together, I invite you back into our shared space on the screen. This completes our guided part today. And now would be a time if you want. I see that this has moved a lot. And if you want to say something, share something, give a voice to your experience, then this is the space to do that. I totally understand if you want to retreat and be in silence from now for a moment.
Ah, I just want to thank you for this journey. I was so stuck in my mind and I was almost finishing this meditation and then just the soul, the God, just entered in and yeah, oh, this was very meaningful. Yeah, and now I'm just integrating this, all this. So thank you so much, Raisa, what you were channeling.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, beautiful. Such a beautiful and powerful devotion and persistence and surrender. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Reza. Somehow this has left me confused, I guess. But in a way that I sort of feel as a theme for the last weeks or so, in a sense of moving through meditation and even moving through life for me at the moment is really this. And it feels a bit like there is something for me to understand in exactly that. I feel I obviously I really enjoy sort of living on the safe, comfortable, sort of, and there's a learning or something for me that is really about the wholeness, actually. I spoke to a priest on Bali, and she was just like, look, I mean, it just in a conversation, it wasn't something deeply spiritual or so. She just explained some sort of like, this is the same, right? It's the dark and the light is exactly the same. It's two parts of one thing. And I feel becoming more receptive to all the beauty. And this was exactly the meditation today. It was like, it felt like Christmas coming in. It was like this, as if, this big just beauty and thankfulness. And on the other side, it's so crushing what happens in the world. And somehow understanding, the sort of moving that this is sort of neither for me to judge nor for me to control, is something I feel that is a lesson I'm currently going through. And the trust that this is it, that nothing of this is not perfect as it should be. But I find it hard to have these two completely different poles, sort of. I mean, I cannot explain that better. Yeah, I find a deeper intimacy with life, and I understand, and yet, yeah, I feel what this meditation leaves me with, and I will go into my day with this, is what does that mean then? If this is how it should be, this is exactly how just, creation is meant to be, life, death, what does that mean for me? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing that vulnerability and that struggle with that. I can relate. I had a similar sort of struggle in the summer, and I had Winter Jade Isley say something to me. I'm reminded of that right now when you share that, so I'm going to say that. I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember the exact words, but we were all born to this time because we chose it, and this is the transition time between eras, and the old time is, the old era is struggling, or it's battling because it doesn't want to let go. The new is coming, but it's not yet fully here. And some people are the pioneers and way showers that, hey, come over here. This is the direction we're going to. And then the people in the old era are like, hello, this is, we're gonna hold on tight to this. And what these teachings are about is that the world servers, we are in the middle between these two eras. We're showing that, okay, you pioneers, you go that way, and the rest of you, please come with us. And we are the poles in the middle that we hold the mast, we hold our hands to the mast and we do not interfere with the process, but we feel everything. And sometimes it's really fucking hard. It's a pain to feel.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's exactly that. And it's exactly the word I just used. It's about feeling it all, and I know that. And I wanted it. And like even really asking for it in a sense of like I want to feel more deeply, receive more deeply. But what that really means is really
and yet we need to acknowledge that it's sometimes really fucking hard to just feel.
yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. We still have a couple of minutes if anybody else wants to say something. Thank you for joining me today. This is a full moon meditation, and may the next 2 weeks reveal even deeper layers of the direction that our souls and the one life wants us to take, and be guided into that. And the new moon meditation, I'll send more info about that. Blessings and love to all.